What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Drawing and Exploring with me, Sam Grubb. I'm still in Athens. I've got about 8 days left here, so I'm trying to make the most of it. I've had a couple of friends out, and yeah, I really enjoy my time here. I definitely feel like I need to come back. I think the best way I could sum it up is for anyone who's been to Barcelona, it kind of feels similar to that in the sense that I'll get off different metro stations just in random places, doing things, going to matches, getting different food, whatever. And everywhere you go, there's like fully sustained neighborhoods with like beautiful coffee shops and bakeries and sweet stuff and restaurants and nightlife and bars and things like that. And it's just like, it's such a cool city in that sense. I really feel like I'm constantly finding new areas of it. And it's kind of like a puzzle that's getting pieced together. You know, I'll walk the 10 minutes between one place and another, and I'll be like, oh, right, this is just around the corner from this. So all of a sudden, things are easy to get to. Yeah, I think the most I've ever felt that before was in Barcelona. Every time I go, I think I've been 3 times to Barcelona, and every time I go there, I feel like I'm just discovering new stuff and new neighborhoods that are just like, wow, there's so much more things to do. But yeah, amazing city. I'm really going to miss it. So yeah, the mission for today, I'm going to find somewhere to draw. I'm going to chill. I'm going to try and eat what I think might be the best thing I've ate the whole time I'm here. And so we'll get to that later today. But yeah, that's the plan. Going to draw something, just step around, get some steps, explore a little, and then eventually end up stuffing my face as ever. So yeah, come join me for another day in Athens. Let's go. Athens is so popping, man. Like I said, I feel like you turn corners and randomly you just see the coolest stuff. It's so busy and bustling. Kind of wish I had a longer time here, but it's a good reason to come back nonetheless. But yeah, heading into the centre now. I'm going to get to drawing, find a spot to post up. What I'm drawing today is more cover arts. My friend TP, Twisted Pennies, aka Turning Pencils, aka Teeps, reached out. He's a rapper from Leicester, a good friend of mine, and he's got a new project coming. He gave me a bit of a brief, told me what he wanted. So I've got a couple of ideas. I need to do a bit of research, look at some like gothic puppets or something. I'm thinking like, you know, them kind of noddy looking wooden, creepy Russian ones, something like that, maybe a wizard or something like that. I need to check in with Teeps and see if he wants a wizard or if I'm taking it too far. But yeah, that's the idea. I don't want to stray too far. How poetic. I don't want to stray too far from where this kebab spot is. I just can't help but wonder in Athens, like, look at this. I just want to explore it and get lost a little bit. So I think I'm going to walk around a little bit more, then find a coffee shop. Okay, Dope Roasting Co. This was a cool little spot right in the middle. Went there a couple of times. They brewed like cold green tea and iced tea and this like grapefruit lemonade that I'm drinking here in-house. So like, I'm not a coffee drinker. Now and again I'll fancy a hot tea, but the cold drinks that they made in-house are really cool. So I went there a few times. They had a big area to like sit inside, loads of people working, big outdoors. But yeah, started this one with a little mood board of like some different kind of wooden gothic puppets.
I was trying to pick out like some distinctive features, looking at like the collars and kind of the typical clothes and stuff like that, some tropes of the faces, but I still kind of wanted it to look like one of my characters. So yeah, here, following the brief, Teeps said that he just wanted the puppet kind of laying on the floor. So I tried to make it look as if the strings have just been dropped and it's just fell there, But yeah, Teeps is my people. I've done maybe, I'm trying to think, the first cover art I did for him might have been a project called Torture Chambers, and that would have been around 2013, maybe 14. He's an old friend of mine, but I've maybe done the cover art for about 4 or 5 of his projects over the years. And Teeps is a purple guy. He always, back in the day, he's one of those people who just purple was his colour, he's wearing purple. So for all of the covers, I've tried to like keep a little purple theme running there. And that's going to be the same with this. But here, just working out the rough sketch and trying to figure out the composition, how I can make it look a little bit more like it just fell down. I want the hands and wrists and like, his left leg, I want it to be bent up kind of like Toy Story, when the toys just drop on the floor. That's what I was aiming for. And I was thinking like, at this point I'm kind of considering the perspective, so I was thinking of the vanishing point being right in the middle of the canvas, and I was trying to work out like what is he going to be sat on? Is it going to be like a stage facing outwards with a room full of chairs, like an empty hall kind of space? But then I thought it'd probably make more sense if it's like facing the stage and curtains in the background. I didn't want to lose too much of the artwork behind the typography that's going to end up sitting on it. So just thinking about how the background's going to fit in here, playing with the perspective a little bit, thinking if he's cropped on either side it might be a cool look, but then I kind of don't want to lose the details on his hat. I thought at least if I draw him in full like this, then I can move him out later. Figured he needed a hat with a wizard's hat kind of, made from cloth. But it's starting to take shape. Trying a couple of different noses, just seeing about changing his face. I think one like this was the move. And then yeah, starting to fill in. So I've just took that layer backwards, turned the opacity down on it, and I'm drawing over the top of it, just using it for a reference. And then my top layer here, maybe I've got it on like you can see I'm kind of changing the opacity just to see it. In fact, the layer with the sketch is going to be in front. The software I'm using is Procreate. It's a 12.9 inch 5th generation iPad Pro with a 2nd generation Apple Pencil. My little baby. Yeah, you can see here it's starting to take shape pretty quick. I'm kind of playing around with I'm thinking like that airbrushed sort of rosy red cheeks that these little puppets have. Copy and pasted the same brush over to the other cheek. Same thing with the eye. I think I'm going to isolate that, move it over. Just adding a little detail to his jersey. Going for like a pinstripe kind of, is that a pinstripe or just simply striped, I guess? And here I really wanted to build up some shadows, so when I think about those little bits here, I think I've got the opacity of the brush. You can see on the left hand side it's a little bit kind of hard to see because of the sky reflecting on the iPad, but you can see on the left hand side of the iPad there's 2 dials there, the little grey what they call faders, I guess, I don't know what you call it, handles. The top one is for the size of the brush and the bottom one is for the opacity. So here I might have the layer opacity turned down, but I'm marking the layer with 100% black, so I can kind of manipulate it at a later on in the session, you know what I'm talking about. But just adding some shadows here, trying to build it up. Usually if I'm drawing something like super cartoony, I'll just add one layer of shadow and kind of leave it as a flat, almost like a graphic comic book sort of thing. Whereas with this, I'm thinking, let me build it up. So if I put in this shadow layer, I'm going to turn say this shadow layer is on 50% opacity. I'll turn it down to 25, duplicate the layer so it's back up to 50, and then on one of the layers that's obviously still just 25, add more shadow. So that way you won't, if you just turn the opacity of the brush down to 25 and you draw over the same place twice, it's going to make 50, but it can quickly get to 75 or to 100. It's harder to manipulate. So I find if I duplicate the layer like this and just add to the shadow on another layer, you can see how it just softens the edges a little bit. And to his legs, some of those, I'm thinking ultimately is a wood carving. So I want the legs to kind of look like they were whittled and the arms to look like they were whittled. Same thing here with the highlights. I'm probably going to draw them in at 100%. Yeah, just start to take them down a little bit. You can see me there just playing with the opacity. It's probably at about 40% here, just so I can see what I'm doing. I'd imagine it's going to turn down a little bit in the final composition. Although I am thinking he's a sort of a glossy puppet, right? I think these are painted with gloss. Could have done him a little more discoloured, I guess. He looks a bit bright and cheerful, but yeah, I wanted him to pop. I wanted him to look glossy and kind of like a toy rather than a wooden toy that had been painted and glossed. Here, just going through and adding a super thin, another layer of highlights just along the very edge, and then some shadows underneath him. Big shadow, kind of making that fit in, filling in the little other areas. You can see here it's starting to take shape a little bit. That the process of just adding a few more shadows in here, just with a bit of a pencil texture, just roughly drawing them in and building them up, being patient. I think you can see it starts to pay off. I was excited by this at this point. I could start to see how the final composition was going to look. Adding in just more highlights, more kind of soft lighting on the top of it, and some more shadows. The more I looked here, the more I kept seeing, yeah, it needs to be more dramatic, more dark in places, more light in places. I think here as well, once the initial shadows are in, this brush might only be a 10% opacity or something like that. And then it's a case of just dusting in lightly. Here I'm just trying to get a little wood grain pattern. Make that really recessive, make that really sit back. Maybe literally 3% or something like that. Again, same principle here. So because I'll draw on the layer at 100% opacity, but then just take it down a little bit. That way you can manipulate it. If you draw on the layer with 3% opacity, it's going to be harder to bring it up. You're going to have to copy and paste and combine layers, and it's just a mess. So here I'm trying to make the strings just look as if he's just been dropped on his side and have them sprawling around. Anywhere I was using where I could give a sense of depth, like the weight of, or the space between two of his limbs or something like that, I wanted to do it. So like that bit rolling off his right thigh, maybe like something here as well, just trying to figure it out. I'm thinking I need to get the handle in the background, the wooden handle that the puppeteer would hold. That's in a pickle. Yeah, so Teeps' new project's called Penny. He said it's coming in the new year, so I guess by the time this episode drops, or did he say in the spring? I'm not sure. I know he's promoting it now. But yeah, maybe it might be out. Go check for his music anyway. Twisted Pennies. Pennies with a Y. He's a Leicester rapper, and he's mad technical. He's probably the best rapper I've ever met. You can tell he's a complete scholar of the genre and just a really unique guy anyway, so it shows in his music. Drawing in the handle here then, same thing, just adding some little highlights, low lights, painting in the wood grain, adding it to the sides of the handle as well. Then here I've got to think about the shadows. How's it going to affect that? I'll drop a little bit in there. And then I'm starting to just add the strings here as well. Now it's time to think about the background. So I wasn't sure what to do here. Like I said, I was thinking like the curtain with the stage. I think I tried a couple of things, but I figured if it's just a simple curtain with a couple of wooden boards with a similar sort of texture on it, and then work on the shadows the same way with the curtain, add a couple of little wrinkles at the bottom. And that's it. There's the final thing. Teeps, aka Twisted Pennies, the new project. Penny, go check it out. There's a back cover as well. Simple, just took the character off. Yeah, set the text.
All right, the drawing's finished. The sun's just starting to set over Athens, and I'm on my way to the food spot. So I checked and it closed at 5:30, a little bit earlier than I thought. So I need to get down there. But I'm excited. Like I said, I had my friend out last week. We were chilling, and he was here last year with his girlfriend. And this little spot I'm going to is one of the spots that he found. And it's a little hole in the wall, family run, family owned place, just knocking out 2 menu items, the same kebab twice, one of them spicy. And it was like the most beautiful, simple thing that I've had the whole time I've been here. I've ate some great food the whole time I've been here. The odd miss, not many, but a couple of times, you know, I've had some stuff that wasn't great. But other than that, it's been amazing. And honestly, this was one of the best things I had. I think I'm a sucker for street food anyway. And I love those cheap bites that locals eat that just get knocked out 1,000 times a day. I think, like, obviously you have these Michelin star places and all these places with changing menus and seasonal stuff and blah, blah, blah. Whereas I think the same dude who's making the same dish 1,000 times a day, every day for 20 years, I feel like there's no fat on it. It's just going to be the leanest, like the way the onions are put onto it is going to be the most perfect way to put onions onto the top of a kebab, down to like that degree. So watching him work, it was just like a ballet. You know, there was no wasted motion in the kitchen. The way the customers queue up, there's kind of like a one-way vibe. You know, you pay for your food and then you queue up against the counter eventually until you get out the door. And it was just incredible. And I thought, damn, I wish I knew about this spot a month ago. I think I would have ate so many of them. But yeah, great little tasty bite. They're like €2.50 each as well. So I'm going to head down there now. They're due to close in about 15 minutes. But at the rate they're going, that's about 300 orders missed if they close 15 minutes early. So I'm hoping they're going to be open. Let's see.
Okay, Lefteris O Politis, established 1951. These guys, like I said, they serve 2 things, right? It's the same beef patty and a souvlaki, and they've got one with spicy like seasoning on it. But simple is key. The bread was amazing. The treatment was amazing. The way they kind of just rest the bread. Look at that. It's not gorgeous. You can see there the spicy seasoning on it. And these guys must be turning over these because it was just busy constantly. The times I went, people rolled through. So I'm doing one of each here. The salad's simple, roughly chopped, fresh. And they've just got a couple of little tables out in the street where you can just stand and whack it. These were about, how much were they? I can't remember, a couple of euros each. So cheap, so cheerful. Coke Zero there, onto the second one. Just so light. I feel like if I lived in Athens for good, I'd just live off stuff like this. Such an honest working days, like a working man's piece of food. Yeah, really good. Smash down the rest of the Coke Zero. Look, here we go. €2.50 each. There's the boys.
Big up the Lefteris, man. Long live the Lefteris. 1951. That's actually ages and ages ago, so big them up. But yeah, that's another day in Athens. Ticked off. Got the work done. Filled my belly. Got lost a little bit. Bought a vintage Helly Hansen jacket at some vintage market when I was wandering around. That wasn't in the script today, but that's what happens. But yeah, thanks to everyone who locked in, everyone who locked on. Big up all the viewers. If you want to see more of what I'm doing, go over to the Instagram, head to @SamGrubArt. You're going to see a bunch of stuff, all the work from these different episodes and little snippets and other things I'm working on. You can also head to the TikTok, go to @SamGrubArt on TikTok as well. And you'll see some snips from the episodes and some of my favorite bits and other little speed runs, work processes, stuff like that. If you want to see my website, the portfolio website, go to samgrub.co.uk. and you're going to see a bunch of work, bigger projects, stuff where it's for bigger clients where they needed more parts to it. And from there, you can get to my shop. So by the time this episode's out, I'm going to have some new stock on the shop, some new prints, new t-shirts, things like that. So go to shop.samgrub.co.uk. You can buy all sticker packs and all these new bits and bobs on there. But yeah, the main thing that I want to shout out at the end of these episodes every time is the email address. If you guys want to reach out and you need cover art for a single, or you're working on something where you need a designer, or there's a requirement for illustration, or even if you just want to commission a private thing for yourself, that'd be pretty cool. Reach out, get in touch. The email address is contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. And shoot me a message there. We can talk about what it is you want, get the work done. What would be pretty cool would be to feature the work in a future drawing and exploring episode. Sit down somewhere and get to work on your work. So if that sounds like something that could be of use to you, like I said, the email address, contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. But for now, I'm off. I'm going to go back. Tonight's the night that Bones Jones is fighting Stipe Miocic. So I'm thinking I might do the nap and try wake up late and catch the main event. But you know that one goes, it never really works out that way. But yeah, I'm out. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time for another episode of Drawing and Exploring.